Rajmata. We don't have a king, but obviously if we had a king, the queen would be the mother. Oh. Louder, there you go. The nurse, the one who helped your mother bring you into this world. And?
Shastra?
Huh?
Shastra? Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita,
Louder.
Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna
Uh-huh. Krishna's your mother, Krishna's your father, Krishna's everything. So, but also make sure when later today you do call your biological mother. Your biological mother is your very first guru. Before your spiritual master, before any of your diksha, shiksha gurus, it is always your mother who teaches you the very first steps on your path, even if it doesn't seem directly. Like they've always led to your journey. So just make sure to take some time today, if you haven't already done so, to thank your mother. But for today's topic, we are actually going to be talking about the greatest teacher. So there might be a personality on the screen who probably you can guess who we're going to be talking about, who is going to be the greatest teacher. And then we want to take just a shot in the dark and guess who it might be. Louder?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, very good. We're going to dive in a little bit and see how great of a teacher we're going to be talking about. But of course, as always, we'll start with invocation prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mahaprishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayambhuvamayam Dadi Svatandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Radhakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sakala Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Pariyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Parama Sakala Lalita Shri Vishakha Vidamsha Deve Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Govesha Gopiya Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tara Kanchana Gaurami Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatarurasya Jivasindhu Vacha Patakaram Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. And I'm going to ask this question again, but you can give multiple answers. But we already heard a very good answer when I asked it at the start. So who is the greatest teacher? Someone raise your hand, give me an example of who's the greatest teacher. Raising your hand, you guys. Come on, just like in kindergarten, raise your hand.
Mother.
Mother, very good. That is one of the first and greatest teachers. Who else think, like, you might have said one in the beginning, who, on the picture, who's one of the greatest teachers?
Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada, good. Very good. That's a pretty good answer, hard to beat. Can anyone think of any other personalities who might compare? So we heard of your mother, Srila Prabhupada. Anyone think of any personalities that we might have seen at the beginning of the slides?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, very good. What about Prahlad Maharaj's guru? Narada Muni, very good. So Srila Prabhupada was mentioned, Prahlad Maharaj was mentioned, and of course his guru, Narada Muni, was mentioned. These are all perfect personalities and examples of perfect teachers. And we're going to be taking a completely different direction. We're not going to, you all are perfect, your minds are in the beautiful, in the spiritual world with all these very spiritual, beautiful answers. I'm going to need you to bring it back down to reality. I want you guys to bring your mindset back into the material world. So, let's think about that. We're in the material world. What is the greatest teacher in the material world? Not in a spiritual context.
Experience?
Experience can be. What else are we thinking?
Failure.
Good. Failure is the greatest teacher. You can have the best teacher in the world who knows everything and can explain it perfectly. But unless you can't execute it perfectly, the only way you are going to learn is if you make mistakes. And you learn from those mistakes. If you learn from failure. So failure can actually be the greatest teacher. If you think about, let's say, an area burns down after a wildfire. Everything's destroyed. Everything is reset to zero. But in time, the forest recovers, seedlings start to sprout up, and you'll actually find if you come back in even a week, you'll already see greenery. If you come back in 5 years, you'll start to see shrubs and little trees. Come back in 20 years, you'll start to see bigger trees, and then if you come back in 50 years, you'll see the complete forest fully rejuvenated. But you had to start down from the very bottom to really appreciate the growth. Same thing now when we come into the context of who the greatest teacher is on today specifically. So what's today? So we're going to be talking about not so much this beautiful personality, we're going to be talking more about this guy. Because ironically, Hiranyakashipu, for all of his faults, for all of his failures, he is actually a brilliant teacher. But he's doing it in an indirect way. And it's actually better for us to learn from him in some ways so that we can actually improve ourselves. Because of course, Prahlad Maharaj is perfect. He's giving us all these perfect instructions. But are we in the same mindset as Prahlad Maharaj to take in those messages? Or is our mindset more like Hiranyakashipu? Because we are in the material world. So, in order to set the scene, Hiranyakashipu has already lost his brother Hiranyaksha to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In what form? Who remembers?
In a boar
form. Named?
Varaha.
Varahadev. Very good. What color is Varaha?
Blue? No, white.
No.
And this?
So very vibrant, sometimes the color associated with passion.
Red.
Reddish. His fur is reddish and brilliant like the sun. So Hiranyaksha fought with Varahadev. And then of course, that is like a mouse trying to pick a fight with a cat. There is no chance. So of course, the Supreme Personality of Godhead defeats Hiranyaksha in a cosmic battle. And he's able to save the earth from the gigantic causal ocean in the material universe. Hiranyakashipu is Hiranyaksha's brother. And he witnesses the death of his brother. And after performing his funeral rites with all of his family and his kingdom present, he angrily takes up his trident in front of all the demons. And he declares this. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Text 9. When the root of a tree is cut, and that tree falls down, its branches and twigs automatically dry up. Similarly, when I have killed this diplomatic Vishnu, the demigods, for whom Lord Vishnu is the life and soul, will lose the source of all their life and wither away. So there's multiple messages that Hiranyakashipu is relaying in this verse when he's reciting this to all his demon hordes. For one, he is showing his intent for vengeance for his brother. Vishnu is now my sworn enemy. He has killed my brother. I will now take him out. But by doing so, it also furthers his motive because, as we all know throughout the Shastras, the Devas and the demons, they are constantly going head to head. Two forces equally opposed, fighting for control of the entire universe. Now, in Hiranyakashipu's mindset, if I take out Narayan, if I take out Vishnu, he's the source of the demigods' power. The demigods worship him. He provides all their strength. If the demigods don't have any strength, then I can conquer the entire universe. All the heavenly planets will fall. They'll be under my control. This will be my universe. And I can show that I am the master of everything, not Vishnu. Now, ironically, there is some truth in this statement from Hiranyakashipu. Not necessarily, though, in the way that he thinks. So in this verse, Hiranyakashipu says that the Lord, the Supreme Personality of God, the Supreme Lord, he is the life and soul the strength of everyone. Krishna says, I am the strength of the strong. Strong could mean a demon. It could mean a demigod. In Hiranyakashipu's mindset right now, it's so fueled by passion, he doesn't also realize that his own strength of his brother, all of that comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is actually confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself in Bhagavad Gita. Do we have the two mics that are around? Perfect. And then do we have another one? So we have one for the other side of the room? Or do we just have the one? Where's the secondary? You want to grab that one? And then, Sunil Prabhu, since you're going, do you want to go ahead and read this verse for us?
Read the.
Yeah, we can do Sanskrit and English.
कस्माच्च तेन नामेरन् महात्मना गरीयसे ब्रह्मणो अपि कर्त्रे अनंत देवेश जगन निवास त्वम अक्षरम सत असत तत् परम यत्. O great one, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you, O limitless one, God of gods, refuse of the universe? You are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation.
So, the cause of all causes, oftentimes, or another way you can refer to that is the root cause. Similarly, just how Hiranyakashipu was describing, the root of the tree is cut, the tree falls down. So I'm going to go for the root of the tree. But unfortunately, what he doesn't realize is that this is a tree that, as quoted here, is invincible. So this is a tree that cannot be cut down. But once again, if you actually just squint a little bit and realize Hiranyakashipu sort of understands the concept, but he's not fully grasping it, and he's not grasping it in the correct mentality. But we have to understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not just the source of the power from the demigods, but he is also the source of power for the demons. And Srila Prabhupada furthers this within the purport of this verse, where he goes and says, by offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. He is all-pervading, and he is the soul of every soul. Every soul. Not just demigods, not just man, but also the demons. And then a quick pop quiz. Does anybody know what is the title of chapter 11 in the Bhagavad Gita?
Universal cosmic thing.
Yeah, the universal form. So at this point, Arjuna has asked Krishna to please show me the universal form. Krishna has given him divine eyes, and he shows the entire cosmic manifestation. When Krishna shows this cosmic manifestation, he's not just showing the aspects that the demigods control, but he's also showing fearsomeness, fire, teeth, weapons, things that you might even consider more demoniac, because everything in the material world is simply an extension of the universal form. So it is all under Krishna's energy specifically. But Hiranyakashipu is quite literally drunk on power, so he doesn't see any of this. And this is slowly going to begin his downfall. So let's actually dive into what happens next in this story. So of course, Hiranyakashipu, after his brother's funeral, he declares, I declare vengeance, I will cut down this tree that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will fall, I will control the universe. But he just saw his brother get killed by the Supreme Lord. Hiranyakashipu is not stupid. He's quite intelligent. So he has to think, alright, if my brother, who is equal in strength to me, was defeated by the Supreme Lord, clearly I need to go to the gym more. So what he ended up doing is doing severe austerity. Stood in one place, on the tips of his toes, hands up in the air. Anyone want to do that for me? So now you want to try it? Just stand up on your tippy toes, hands up. And the hands up nice and tall. Alright. Now, not even taller. There you go. Okay. Can you hold that for about 2 million years? About 2 minutes. Maybe? Okay, we'll give you 2 minutes of power. You can sit down, don't worry. I'm not going to make you stand for 2 million years. But he would sit and nothing but breathe, focusing all of his energy and meditate. And from this meditation, gradually, as the years passed, an anthill would slowly form around his body. But regardless, he would still meditate the severe tapasya, and the heat vibrating from his body emanated throughout the entire universe that the demigods themselves had to go to Brahma and pray to go see him before he burns this entire universe to the ground. Talk to him, see what he wants. And so, Brahma flies on his celestial swan mount, and he sees this ant pile. And from this ant pile, he just sees from the very top, just some bones, fingertip bones sticking out from the surface. So you can kind of imagine if you go outside and you see like a little fire ant nest, and you see like a little, like tiny little fingers. It's probably a mouse that was trying to do too much tapasya. But Brahma sees this, and he realizes, obviously, he feels the heat emanating from this ant pile, and he realizes this is the source. So he takes some celestial water and he sprinkles it on the anthill. And gradually, as the anthill falls off and the skeleton is revealed, the water touches the skeleton and it begins to transform this skeletal form back into its original self, and then vibrates it even more. It's golden, shining, beautiful hair, shimmering skin. He's been given a celestial body. And then revived, Hiranyakashipu offers respect to Brahma. And then Brahma asks Hiranyakashipu, request a boon of me, what do you want? So, who can tell me? What are some of the boons? What's the very first thing that Hiranyakashipu asked? The very first thing. Huh? Immortality. He wanted to be immortal. Because you can't kill what can't be killed. So if I'm immortal, what chance does the Supreme Lord stand against me? But, what was Brahma's response?
No way.
It's impossible. I'm not even immortal. I'm mortal. I live for 100 years. Granted, my 100 years seems like trillions of years for the simple living entity, but still, at the end of this universal cycle, I will die. I can't give you that. But Hiranyakashipu is conniving. He's smart. It's like, okay. You can't give me immortality, but I'm going to try to cheat the system. I'm going to try to find a loophole. And he displays some pretty good fine print work. So this is kind of like if you're typing up a document and you're asking the lawyer to put a bunch of safeguards in that binding document. This is what Hiranyakashipu proceeds to ask Brahma for multiple different benedictions. Does anyone want to name one of the things he requested? Yes.
I should not be killed neither by human nor by animal.
Yes. I shall not be killed by man nor beast. What else? What's another one? Yes.
Neither day nor night.
Neither day nor night. Very good. What's another one?
Neither by weapons or by what's that thing? Other thing? Weapons and something else.
Astra Shastra means Parmanu and
Anu and Parmanu. Yes.
Was it a land or sea?
Yes. I shall not be killed on the land, in the sea, or in the sky. What else?
I should not be killed inside or outside the house.
Very good. I shall not be killed inside or outside. So many loopholes.
not any of the 12 months.
By neither of the elements. So basically, I have covered my bases. If I'm inside my palace, I don't have to worry. No one can kill me inside here. If I'm outside my palace, no one will kill me. Perfect. And if I'm strolling through the gardens, I'm safe. If I'm taking a swim in the royal pond, I'm fine. If I go on a celestial airplane, I'm safe. If someone tries to come at me with a weapon, I'm fine. That weapon will not even harm my skin. If it's the daytime, I see the sun, no one will kill me. If it's night, no one will kill me. Basically, no matter what, if someone tries to find one loophole, I have another loophole to save me. There's no possible way that I can be killed. Right? I think he's covered his bases. That's pretty good. Do we have any lawyers? Anyone who's studying law school? I think that's pretty good. Good legal binding document. Although, of course, lawyers don't say tatastu when they finish their paperwork. They should, though. That'll make it a little more binding and efficient. But, ironically, we'll talk about later how, of course, there is one person in the law room who does know how to read the fine print and get around this. But, technically speaking, Hiranyakashipu is already immortal. Yes? Am I right?
Kind of.
Yes or no?
Yes.
No.
Yes or no?
No.
No? Yes, I'm hearing mixed results. Okay, well, to solve this problem, don't worry, we are going to go back to the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to chapter 2, which title is
The contents of the Gita.
Contents of the Gita Summarized. We are going to be doing verse 20. Shikasumashi, would you read this verse for me?
Na jayate mruyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nityaha sasvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sarire. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing and primal. He is not slain when the body is slain.
So I'm going to ask this again. Is Hiranyakashipu immortal?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Because he's a soul.
Because he is a spirit soul. Are you immortal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You are immortal because you are the soul. You are not the body. Hiranyakashipu's fallacy, his logic was, I'm going to try to make the body immortal. Because he was thinking, I am this body. Especially now, look what Brahma just did to me. I've got an 8-pack. My skin is a beautiful gold. I've got silky flowing black hair. I've got a mustache and eyebrows that are the envy of the entire universe. I want this body to last forever. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that this body lasts. But what he just happened not to realize is that that body is still temporary. The soul is what we actually are. And of course the soul cannot die. And it's further explained in another verse later on in chapter 2. Can we have, who has the mic right now? Neeraj Prabhu. Would you like to read this verse for me?
नैनं चिन्दन्ति सहस्राणि नैनं दहाति पवाकः न चैनं कलेदयन्ति अपो न सुसायति मरुतः. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind.
Wow. Does that sound sort of familiar? Does anyone remember some of the boons that Hiranyakashipu was asking for?
Yeah.
Don't want to be cut by any weapon, by the elements. It's so ironic. He was asking for all of these things from Brahma because he already had the formula with him already. His soul was indestructible. So this goes through the mindset of when someone is on the bodily concept. And it's a lesson that we can actually learn from Hiranyakashipu. The lengths that people will go for the body are for naught. They're for waste. Because ultimately, you try to, oh no, I'm going bald. Let me get some hair gel to make my hair stay. Oh no, I have blemishes. Let me throw on this cream. It'll make me look still like I'm going to try to cling to when I was 20 years old. I'm going to try to cling to when I was 30 years old. I'm going to try to cling to whatever's left when I'm 40. Oh no, I'm 50. Okay, 60, fine, I'm bald. But I'm just going to try to control the belly. Oh no, I'm 70. My back's starting to go bad. I'm 80. My arthritis. You keep on trying to cling. And you try to find loopholes and try to find ways to delay what is inevitable. But ultimately, you just simply have to realize this is the nature of the body. Even if we look at something as simple, think about a flower. You don't worry about when you put a flower in the vase, it's going to be nice for a bit. You're not going to think, oh no, what's going to happen when the flower starts wilting? What are my neighbors going to think? You just take the flower out, you put in a new one. And ideally, we're offering that flower to Krishna. Just as we use our bodies in service for Krishna. Whether it's an old body, a young body, a male body, a female body, strong, weak, we use whatever we can in what capacity to serve. But sometimes you quite literally need a pillar to the head in order to realize what you have. And this is the perfect contrast between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyakashipu went through so many different things. He tried to find a way to cheat immortality. But of course the Lord was able to pick apart every single loophole. So let's talk about how the Lord is the perfect lawyer. How did he pick apart Hiranyakashipu's legal argument? How did he solve the man versus beast? Say that.
He became a man and a lion.
Half man, half lion. All right. Next legal argument. How did he solve the weapons? Somebody.
He used his nails.
He used his nails. In the verse in the Bhagavatam, it described his nails are like what? We have a lot of them in Florida, especially this week. Thunderbolts. What about inside versus outside? How do you solve it?
On the porch.
On the porch, the lanai, if you're in the real estate business. Because, of course, this is a royal palace. It has a beautiful overlook. It's on a hillside. So if I want to go outside and see the valley below, but I don't want to be fully outside, I don't want to have a roof over my head in case it rains, I'm going to go on that outdoor balcony area where there's these lovely pillars, a nice view, vista, cool marble floors. I'm not inside the building fully. I'm not surrounded by four walls, but I'm not out in the open either. So another loophole, another legal argument, easily defeated. What about the day versus night scenario?
Twilight.
Dusk, twilight. So you have dawn and you have dusk. Those are called the twilight hours. And who knows what time is twilight tonight? 8:32. So a little bit after sunset. So the sun will set, but the sun is just below the horizon, so the sunlight is still up in the sky, so it still appears as if it's day. Once it starts to dip a little bit lower beyond the horizon, you can still see some sunlight, but you're starting to see this night sky come into view. That is dusk. That is twilight. So it's neither day nor night. And so, Hiranyakashipu's argument was defeated in that way. What else? Was Hiranyakashipu in a pond? Was he in an airplane? Was he on the lawn?
He was on his lap, so he wasn't on the land or the sea.
Yeah, he was on, Hiranyakashipu was laid out across the Lord's lap. So there's another one. His legal argument is starting to slowly fall apart, and then with the benefit of hindsight, you kind of see he should have covered his bases. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Very good. So all of these different things, the Lord was able to pick apart and prove that at least Hiranyakashipu's body was mortal. Now, let's go and then go to the flip side. Let's talk about Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj went through very similar things that Hiranyakashipu was asking for when he talked to Prema for his boons. He said, I don't want to be cut by any weapon. Well, Hiranyakashipu set his demon hordes on Prahlad Maharaj. They tried to pierce him with weapons. But because he was a pure devotee of the Lord, what did those weapons do when they touched his skin? It bounced off. It basically, his skin essentially became like titanium alloy. Nothing was able to pierce. They tried to kill him, like man tried to kill him. What else did they try to send him to kill him? That wasn't a man. An elephant. They tried to trample him under an elephant. So they tried the beast method. Did the beast method work? No, the elephant tried to step on Prahlad Maharaj, but they couldn't crush him. Let's imagine if a scenario where if you're walking outside and you see an ant and you accidentally step on it, but instead of squishing it, that ant can actually just lift you up and push you away. So the elephant couldn't trample him. They even tried the land, sea, and sky method. How? They threw him off a cliff. So they started on the land, like, all right, I'm going to push you, you're going to stumble, you're going to trip, you're going to fall over, you're going to fall through the sky, you're going to plunk into the rocks in the ocean below. But, of course, did that work? No. Because actually, who is the master of gravity? Krishna, in chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, by my energy, the planets stay in orbit. So, what keeps everything in orbit and moving around? Gravity. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 15 declares, I am gravity. So, if Prahlad Maharaj is fully surrendered unto the Lord and fully surrendered unto gravity, perfect. Hiranyakashipu's demons are literally throwing me into the arms of my Lord. I could not be happier to skydive and be caught by the Lord. They even tried poison. How'd that go?
Not well.
Not well. What did Prahlad Maharaj do before he drank the poison? Yeah, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Mahaprasad Govinde, yum. Now, I trust the cooks today did not put any arsenic or anything inside our prasadam, yes? I'm not hearing a yes. Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe, and anything, if you deep fry anything enough, it'll probably be edible. So, but all the while, Hiranyakashipu in his throne room is thinking, Prahlad Maharaj did not ask Brahma for any of these benedictions that I have. So I'm sure that all these different things that my demons are doing to him are working perfectly. And you can even picture it. He's sitting in his royal throne room, he's twirling his mustache, he is at the height of his power, just thinking, yes, I have done it. The Vaishnavas have tried to ruin me by taking my son. Fine, let them have my son. I still have the throne. And I'm immortal. So what do I even need a son for? If I'm going to live forever, I don't even need the dynasty to continue. Because I'm going to be here forever. But he thought in his mind that he could threaten the pure devotee. But ironically, as we can understand, if we go back to the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 9, we can actually understand that what is Prahlad's situation throughout this entire ordeal. Adi Prabhu, would you like to read this verse?
Devim Ashita Vajanti Annaya Manasu Yatva Bhutadim Avyayam, O son of Preta, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible.
There you go. Those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of divine nature. So if you're situated in transcendence, if you are engaged in pure devotional service, you will always be protected by the Supreme Lord under any circumstance. Even if there may appear some material hardships, those are just like waves. Waves will crash, they'll dissipate on a surface. Same way, if you think about Sri Prahlad Maharaj, every single thing that was thrown, not a single moment was he afraid because he knew at all times, the Lord is my entire universe. I am just focused on solely serving Him. So of course, when he was poisoned, here's some prasadam for you, my Lord. The Lord protects him. These blades come to hurt him. Maybe they can cut and shave my sides to give me a better defined shika. Free haircut, my Lord. They throw him off a cliff. Excellent. I'm literally being thrown into the arms of my Lord. If you think about like when a kid asks a parent to spin around and they grab by the arm and spin, 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 that's Prahlad Maharaj's version of spin, spin, spin. But just gravity is doing the fun for him. All of these different things. No fear. Not a single ounce. And you can even think about more modern examples. Obviously, Srila Prabhupada. Did he have any fear when he came onto the Jalaluddin? No. He had 2 heart attacks. And he still got off that boat. He could have easily gone to the captain after those 2 heart attacks and said, no, I just had 2 heart attacks. My heart literally can't take it. Turn this boat around back to Bengal. The West ain't worth it. He pushed through because he said, my Lord, this is just a simple reminder that I am in the material world. I am going to carry out the actions and the request of my spiritual master. So that's what it looks like to have no fear. So, let's continue then to talk about Hiranyakashipu's fear and his failures. So my question now for all of you is, what is Hiranyakashipu's greatest failure? Who can have any ideas? What's his greatest failure? Yes, Mati?
Not listening to his son.
Perfect. That's honestly the perfect answer. He did not listen. And that is the greatest issue. When you don't listen. And listening comes in many different ways. It can be like a spoken conversation. It can be through written word. It can come in so many different forms, but ultimately not listening, not properly communicating, or not having the correct mindset when you're listening. And of course, when we understand when Prahlad Maharaj was talking to Hiranyakashipu, he's coming from a very high elevated platform. Because where is Prahlad Maharaj's message coming from? Narad Muni. Narad Muni came and talked to Prahlad Maharaj's mother. And then of course, can you just imagine a little embryonic Prahlad Maharaj in the womb of his mother, ear, like on the womb, like edge of his mom's belly, just attentively listening, trying to get every single word and absorbing that. And there's even scientific studies that show, like if like a pregnant woman has a child and you play like soothing music, like classical music, music that we would consider sattvic or in the mode of goodness, that actually helps the development of the embryo. Just think what would happen if you just played Srila Prabhupada chanting next to the womb. Just think about what that might do. Probably would get a Prahlad Maharaj. So having that transcendental sound vibration, that divine Vedic instruction come from Narad Muni, and Prahlad Maharaj integrates all of that. All he had to do was listen, but he didn't. However, from the greatest of failures, you can get the greatest success. Because what is Hiranyakashipu's greatest success? Who knows? Or who? Yes, no problem.
He got a devotee son.
He got a devotee as a son. Prahlad Maharaj is Hiranyakashipu's greatest success. Not the conquest of the heavenly planets and control of the entire universe. Not all the boons of pseudo-immortality. Not the mustache, not the eyebrows. His son. Prahlad Maharaj was Hiranyakashipu's greatest success. And even to solidify his success, after Nrsimha rips apart Prahlad Maharaj, he is still in his Ugra Nrsimha form. Ferocious, his fiercest form. The entire demigods are afraid. His own wife, Lakshmi Devi, is like, I am not going near my man right now. No. Prahlad, go talk to Brahma. Prahlad goes to Brahma. And then Brahma just, go. So little Prahlad Maharaj goes to Nrsimha Dev. Does he circle around just the Lord? Yes or no? Does he circle around just the Lord when he circumambulates the Lord? Or does he circumambulate around multiple people? Who else does he go around? His father. When Prahlad Maharaj goes to see the Lord, he walks around the Supreme Lord as one should, but he also goes around his father. And then when the Lord is pacified, he places his hand on Prahlad Maharaj's head. And then he speaks to Prahlad after Prahlad glorifies him. All of these beautiful prayers. And he asked Prahlad, like my devotee, ask of me a boon. What does Prahlad Maharaj ask the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Forgive my father.
Yeah, louder.
Forgive my father.
Forgive my father. And of course, when we can understand from our Shastras, when you have a devotee, a Krishna conscious child, that Krishna conscious child can save the entire family, generations, forward and back. So of course, Prahlad Maharaj is fully surrendering unto Lord Nrsimha Dev. Hiranyakashipu is blessed and protected. However, for at least as we know from the rest throughout the Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu still has to deal with a couple more lifetimes. But he gets to sport with the Lord. Because does anybody know what is Hiranyakashipu's true identity? Jai. So Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, louder together, were? Jai and Vijay. Very good. So they got the first benefit. Awesome. I get to fight with the Lord. One, you'll get to fight with Varahadev. The other, you'll get to fight with Nrsimhadev. But you got to do it again. So we'll rewind the clock. Let's reset the stage. Because remember, the Lord is like an actor dressed on the stage. He wants a challenge. And of course, because Jai and Vijay denied the four Kumaras entrance into Vaikuntha Loka, they were cursed. But they were given the chance four lifetimes versus multiple. So they said, just give us a few lifetimes, we'll go to the material world, we'll play a demon, so we can come back to our post in the spiritual world. But at the same time, if you think about it, the Lord wants to enjoy. He wants to go out into his playground. He wants to act on the stage. If the Lord wants to fight, well, the devotee's like, well, oh no, we've got to give him the best possible opponent ever. Otherwise, it's going to be an easy fight. It won't even be a fight. So, of course, they have to manifest as the nastiest demons in the entire universe. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. Then you fast forward into Treta Yuga. Who do they come as? Ravana and Kumbhakarna. It's like, okay, we'll give Ram and Lakshmana a good fight for their money this time. Oh no, we still lost. Okay, let's try this again. We'll come back in Dwarpa Yuga. Who do they come as? Louder? Yes, Shishupal and Dantavakara. We're going to come back as wrestlers. We're going to beat the Lord in pro wrestling. Unfortunately for them, wrestling is Krishna's favorite sport. So of course they lose, but they get the benefit of having the ability to fight, or in this case, play fight, because for the Lord this is all just fun. But they get to fight with the Lord. And they, of course, get the benediction to go back to the spiritual world and resume their post as Jai and Vijay. So for Hiranyakashipu, it took a little bit of time. And of course, he did not listen to Prahlad Maharaj during his lifetime. But that was also for the sake of Leela, for the pastime. However, unlike Hiranyakashipu, we are actually going to try to listen to Prahlad Maharaj. So, first we're going to rewind the clock. So let's bring back all the guts. We'll put them back into Hiranyakashipu's body, sew him back up, put Nrsimha back in the pillar, rewind. We'll take Prahlad Maharaj back from the demons, send the elephant back, reverse throw him off the cliff, resharpen all of those tools, put them back in the closet where they belong, because right now Prahlad Maharaj is still Hiranyakashipu's favorite son. And he asked, my beloved son, come to daddy, sit on the lap. Let me hear how well you've done in school. He's just like a proud father. It's like, one day this kid's gonna have a mustache like me. I'll keep Brahma Loka, I'll keep I might give him like maybe a third of the heavenly planet, see how he does. This is the pride of my bloodline. Tell me, what's the best thing that your teachers have taught you in school? And then of course, Prahlad Maharaj goes forward and he recites this verse. If anyone who wants to read this, where are the mics? There's one here and then one here. Go. You want to read this one?
Shri Prahlada Uvacha Tatsadamanya Suravanya Dehinam Sada Samudvigna Dhiyama Sadgrahat Hitvatma Patam Grihamanda Kupam Vanam Gato Yadharimashayita. Prahlad Maharaj replied, O best of the Ashuras, king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest. More clearly, one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
That was Hiranyakashipu's reaction. How? What? Why? Who? Literally grabbing his son, and then was like, where? He turns to his teachers. Did you teach him this? I'm going to see you at the next parent-teacher conference. But no, not my son. I'm not sending my son to no church school. Sending him to a good economic school. So, of course, this is Prahlad Maharaj reciting teachings from his true spiritual master, not Sanda and Namarka, who are Hiranyakashipu's two teachers that he assigned to Prahlad. He is speaking the teachings from Narad Muni. And it could not be a more perfect answer to what is the best possible thing that you could be doing. This temporary body. He's addressing Hiranyakashipu. You asked for immortality. You asked for all of these things. Not to be cut. Not to be killed in the sky and water. But that's all temporary. You should be embarrassed, Dad. You're embarrassing me in front of the Supreme Lord. But instead, you should go to the floor. Go to Vrindavan. Feel the bhav of the dham. Go roll in the dust of where the Lord is engaged in his pastimes. Sing, chant, dance. That's what you should be doing. Not trying to conquer the universe. Not trying to take something that isn't even yours. So, then my question for all of you is, how are we going to follow this instruction from Prahlad Maharaj? What are some ways that we can follow it?
Go to Vrindavan.
Go to Vrindavan. Boom. You can. This is literally Prahlad Maharaj said. You go to Vrindavan. If you can't go to Vrindavan, where do you go?
Just go to temple.
What's the full address?
Viva!
If you can't go to Vrindavan right away, you come here, and then from here, that's where, okay, let me look at flights, let me go to Expedia, let me find a good cheap ticket to Vrindavan, perfect. I'll get an Uber from here to MCO to Dubai, make sure I'm flying Air Emirates or Dubai Air, and then I go to Vrindavan, then I come back to MCO, and then the first stop before I go home, I come back here to the temple, and then I can go home. See? Perfect. Easy to follow Prahlad Maharaj's instructions. How else? How else can you follow his instructions? What are some other ideas? Yes, Prabhu.
Remember the Lord.
No. Perfect. Actually, can we pass the mic back? Prabhu, I want you to read this very famous, arguably one of the most famous verses in the Bhagavatam, also host to the longest purport Srila Prabhupada ever wrote. I would like you to read this verse for me, Prabhu.
Shri Prahlada was Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu
Smaranam Bhagasevanam Archanam Vandanam Nasyam Satsam Atmanam Nivedanam Iti Pumsyami Bhakta Vaishnava Bhaktischainava Rakshana Kriyatana Tanmani Katitam Uttatamam.
And then if you could read the translation for us.
Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming the servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted and as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge.
Complete knowledge. Mic drop. That's all you need. Quite literally, if you go to the Srimad Bhagavatam, you go to Canto 7, Chapter 5, text 23 to 24, you read this verse, Prahlad Maharaj has laid it out. This is how you do pure devotional service. This is how you gain complete knowledge. And then, to help us, Srila Prabhupada goes forth and he elaborates on every single detail to the extreme. You could run an entire temple just based on this one purport alone from this verse. Just because Sri Prahlad Maharaj's message here is so pure and so vibrant, it explains everything that a pure devotee needs to do. This is everything that Hiranyakashipu needed. Jai Shri Shinitai Gauranath Maharaj ki. All of these different things, hearing, chanting, all of these different devotional processes is everything you need to do. If you could just have rip one verse from the Bhagavatam, just to have, it's this one, 2 technically. But this one explains everything that you need to know. And if we listen to it, not just listen to it, but internalize it. And then of course let Srila Prabhupada's purport, as he explains in depth the details of this verse, that is how we can attain pure devotional service. Because you cannot do it alone. Every single pure devotee that you see in the Shastra has a spiritual master. Whether it is Krishna directly himself, or if it's through the chain of succession. Prahlad Maharaj got it through Narad Muni. So he is the servant of the servant. Srila Prabhupada is part of that line. From his spiritual master, and him before, all the way to Narad Muni, all the way back to the Supreme Lord. knowledge always comes from a source. You can't just make it up on the spot. Look what Hiranyakashipu tried to do. I want to be immortal. Brahma says, as if. Like, no, hear me out. Can't be killed by this, can't be killed by that. Like, I can't do this, can't do that. It's like a toddler trying to negotiate for a little bit of extra playtime. When in reality, the parent is, this kid has no idea how many chores I'm going to have him do after he has his playtime. So it's the same mentality. Just throwing away this materialistic childlike mentality and taking the more mature route, which is ironic because who was the adult in this relationship? It was Hiranyakashipu. He's a grown man who couldn't see the truth. But Prahlad Maharaj, who's a little 5-year-old boy, could already see everything perfectly. He took the time to look at himself, see what he needed to do based on the instructions of his spiritual master. So now for like the last part of today's class, I want to talk a little bit then about, let's self-reflect. Let's not compare ourselves and look in the mirror and try to see the purest of devotees. Let's not try to see ourselves as a Prahlad Maharaj. I want you to look at yourself and see what aspects of Hiranyakashipu are in you. I know that might be tricky to say, and I know, like, of course, I know some of you are Paramahamsas and you're perfect. But at least for me, I'm going to take an example from me. Hiranyakashipu is like soft bed, right? Soft bed, cushion, stand. It's like, this is nice. This is actually nice. Probably like a pillow. Back here, I don't like this hard back. I will open the bed like, I like to be comfortable. I like to sleep. I like to relax. It feels nice. But if you think about all your smaller things that maybe they're not flaws, but they're things that you want to work on. Think about them in the context of this pastime of Nrsimha and Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. Am I trying to better my position just for the sake of it? Like, yeah, I'm going to go into work instead of an hour, like 15 minutes early, I'm going to go into an hour early because, of course, my supervisors are going to see I'm coming into an hour early. Then that might mean I might get that promotion instead of my coworker. But then you're just depriving yourself of more sleep. You're depriving yourself of time away from your family. You're depriving yourself of time away to do seva, time to do japa. You could also think about it in other ways as well. Like, am I trying to look as nice and golden as possible so that I'm the envy of the room? Like, look at this. This is actual gold. This is not just painted metal. I want that celestial rain that Brahma sprinkled on Hiranyakashipu. Or are you doing it in the mindset where, no, it's a festive day, but I'm going to be dressing my best because this is the Lord's party. This is the day to celebrate the Lord. Looking at your mindset, seeing the demonic qualities, because as we can understand through the different yuga cycles, in Satya Yuga, demons and demigods completely separate. Within Treta Yuga, what was the difference? Where are we starting to see demons?
Different countries.
Different countries, different zones. What about in Dwarpa Yuga? Within the family. And then in Kali Yuga, in ourselves. There's an entire chapter in Bhagavad Gita talking about the divine and the demoniac natures. Because that now, in Kali Yuga, Hiranyakashipu is not up at conquering the heavenly planets and other parts of the universe. He's not in India. He is not in South Africa. He's not in England. He's not in the US. He's not your cousin. He's not your brother. He's not your crazy uncle. He's in you. He's in you. But he is not you. Because as we understand, what are we? We're the spirit soul. And remember, if you think of Prabhupada often talked about that mirror. And there's dust covering the mirror. Hiranyakashipu is the dust on that mirror. So that's why you have to look at that mirror. And when you look at that mirror, at first you're not going to see yourself. You're going to see Hiranyakashipu. You're going to see that guy who likes to live on golden lined soft beds, has like servants dropping grapes into your mouth. You're going to see all of these faults. But then ultimately when you see all these faults that are supposedly in you, you have to also come to the realization that those faults are not you. That is just Maya's covering over you. That is Hiranyakashipu manifesting himself in you. So you get your rag, and you follow Prahlad Maharaj's advice, Shravanam Kirtanam. You start to wipe, and as you're wiping, you can sing the glories of the Lord. You perform devotional service. And with each devotional act that you perform, you're taking away one fleck of dust. And if you just constantly are engaged in devotional service, pretty soon, you're going to see that beautiful reflection in the mirror. And it will not be a demon. It won't even be a demigod. It's going to be the spiritual soul, which transcends both. And is directly existing with the Lord. Because once you are a pure, self-realized soul, you're a pure devotee, you are not in the material world. At no point, even though Srila Prabhupada appeared to be walking through the streets of Manhattan, through Brooklyn, through Los Angeles, San Francisco, Calcutta, everywhere where Srila Prabhupada walked, he was not in the material world. He was in the spiritual world because wherever he walked, his Guru and Krishna were always with him. And wherever Krishna is, that's perfection. That is the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. But, you can always just be the worst possible human imaginable. And maybe, just maybe, you'll have to force the Lord to manifest himself and he'll have to deal with you personally. But do any of you think you are even qualified to be the king of the demons? No? I want to try. It's okay. If you're saying yes, then that's a foot in the right step, right direction, because at least you have the arrogance. But no. You can at least still be the master of your own demons inside. And that's why you pray to Lord Nrsimha. Annihilate the demons within my heart. Rip them out of me with your thunderbolt-like nails, using your teeth. Tear them away so that I can see that clear reflection of myself as a servant to you. I don't want the spiritual, or I don't want the heavenly planets. I want the spiritual planets. Wherever you are, that's where I want to be. So ultimately, when we look at these pastimes, or whenever you read these different pastimes in the Bhagavatam, of course, we always want to hear the glories of the devotee. We want to hear about Prahlad Maharaj and all of his success and how he was able to serve the Lord. We want to hear about Bali Maharaj and how Vamdev stepped on him. We want to hear about how Lord Ram's victory was perfect and how Hanuman was able to serve him. But next time you go to read Shastra, I want you to carefully dissect the demons. I want you to look in depth at each demon that the Lord has to deal with. Look at Hiranyakashipu, look at Hiranyaksha, look at Kamsa. Look at all of those demons and see what aspects of those demons are in you. Because that's the first step into becoming self-realized, is understanding where you need to work. Because remember, what is the greatest teacher? Failure. If you're willing to accept, yes, I have failed, and we all have, because we're in the material world, that already is a proof of our failure. But if you're willing to accept the failure, that means you are now, starts with an H, humble. And humility is the best quality in a Vaishnava. It's only through humility that you can become self-realized and then get out of this world. So that's why for today, we've got a little over 2.5 hours to go to pray for Lord Nrsimha to please rip out all of these little Hiranyakashipus. This morning I was struggling to wake up. Please, Lord, get rid of this sleep demon. Like, oh Lord, I'm always hungry every time I see the sweets that are put on. I can't wait until they're offered. Lord, please take away this hunger demon from me. Every little aspect where you notice a fault that you can see yourself, not that others can see in you, that you self-reflect, today, pray to Lord Nrsimha, help me. Help me so that I can serve you. And hopefully it won't be in Ugra Nrsimha form that he comes to help you. While that's great, we want him in his peaceful Yogamaya Nrsimha form, hand on head. And with that, for the last 20 minutes, I'll open it to the floor. If you have any questions about anything I talked about, any self-reflection, or any ways that you'd like help or guidance, how can we tackle this Hiranyakashipu that's within, I open the floor to all of you. And then, yes, Max Prabhu. And then we want to pass it.
So, Hiranyakashipu, he performed a lot of austerities, right, to get his personal power going. So in our lives, obviously, some sacrifice needs to be there, some austerity needs to be there to develop spiritually. But how do we avoid falling into the trap of, using austerities for our own pride and our own personal satisfaction rather than for Krishna?
Good. So that all deals around with the false ego. I, me, mine. If you think about all the things that Hiranyakashipu did, I want vengeance for my brother. I want those planets for me. I want the best possible education for my son. I want to see Vishnu's death. I want to see the Devatas, the demigods, fail, so that I can push myself up onto a little pedestal. All of those are, he performed sacrifice, he performed tapasya through Vedic injunction, but for the wrong reasons. He misused the Shastra. Now, if we live out our lives properly, as we're supposed to, we can understand that many times the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the master of all sacrifices. He's Yogeshvara. He is the one that presides over everything. All of the results are for him. So if you think about, let's say, let's have like a nice family, like a house setting. Since Hiranyakashipu is a dad, you have the mom, dad, the kids. Perfect. Let's visualize that nice house setting. You have the father who is telling the children, I want you to go mow the lawn. It's a hard work, especially in Florida, because you got the heat, you got the humidity, you got fire ant nests. So you're pushing the lawnmower, like, oh gosh, God, come on, Dad, why are you making me do this? But you're still doing that because he's your father. And then of course your mother's encouraging you to go, you can do this, you can do this. So after you push through that hardship, it's like, I did it, yes. Not because you asked for it, but because your dad and your mom noticed your hard work. When you come back inside, your dad gives you the praise, it's like, good job. It's like, I'm proud of you. And then your mom gives you something that, here's a nice cool lemonade. You earned it. But it's not because you were asking for it. It's because you were told to do so and you did it. You followed that order. And you get the benefit afterwards. But it's because the Lord gives it to you. Not that because, okay, I'm going to mow the lawn and then I'm going to go up to the fridge, open it up, take what I want because I did this. Because what's going to happen if your parents see you digging through the fridge? Depending on what kind of nationality you are, if it's a Latin family household, you get the chancla. So, realistically, if you do it in the mindset where I'm just going to do it because this is coming from an authoritative position, you will naturally get rewarded even if you don't ask for it. Just think, you all came to the temple today. You all are dressed so nicely, you're all eager to see the Lord. The Lord is going to reciprocate because we're going to have Mahaprashadam and we're going to have a big feast afterwards. The Lord reciprocates in that way. He takes care of his devotee. He will naturally provide. So if you're working in that mindset where everything I'm doing is simply a service to the Lord, I'm going to benefit. But I don't even care about the benefit. What good is it to me? I just want to keep on serving the Lord because I enjoy it. And so that's the mentality you kind of have when you're performing a devotional service. I'm going to go to this 9 to 5, not because I want to, or maybe you want to. And if you do, that's good, but you're doing it in the mindset where if I go to this job, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to accept that money, not as my own, because I know that this is Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is the Supreme Personality of God and its consort. I am simply a messenger. I'm going to carry the Lord's wife back to him, and I'm going to use it in his service. And if you use it nicely, after everything's offered to the Lord, then you can celebrate with the Lord. Then, gosh, Nitai Gauranatha Raj, you have the best sweets today. What kind of sweets do we have today? The best. There you go. See, I'm trying to pry, do we have rasgulla? Do we have cookies? Do we have gulab jamun? But see, that's the hunger demon that I have to kind of pry out. Good things come to those who wait. Better things come to those who don't even expect it.
Sorry, real quick. The one thing I really liked about your answer is you're not inventing any services.
Yes.
You're getting them from an authoritative source.
Exactly. That's the other thing too. You can always do, there is spontaneous devotional service. Let's say like, you come to the temple. Okay, it's a festival day. I'm just gonna go, like boom, 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 run, grab like a broom, start sweeping the temple room floor. Like, oh, the Lord's gonna be so happy. And then the other temple devotee's like, what are you doing? Let me just sweep the floor like 10 minutes ago. So sometimes that energy is good. Spontaneous devotional service is excellent, but at the same time, you still have to be conscious. So asking, how can I be of service? How may I be of service? What can I do to help you? Because that's the other thing. As devotees, we do everything congregationally. We do things together. There is this concept of a workhorse team or an oxen team. Have you ever seen, I'm sure everyone's seen like images of pictures of like two big horses or oxen pulling. Why do they come in one or two? Two. And you've actually noticed there's a very interesting phenomenon. When you see a single ox or a big like work draft horse pulling a plow, it will get quite a lot of work done. But then if you see two of them pulling together, they will actually achieve the work that technically should be comparable to the equivalent of 3 oxen or 3 bulls or 3 large horses. And that's because when you work together, that work does not just grow linearly, it grows exponentially. So when you engage in service with other devotees, that isn't just 2 times better. That's raised to the second power better. It's even more better as you do it with others. So there you go. We will have service opportunities after the program today. So make sure when announcements go, you're listening very carefully for what opportunities we have. Good question, Max. Have any others? Yes. Anyone?
Okay, Prabhu. I have a question. So Prabhu, very nice class. I like the class where you stressed about the point where we have to actually dismantle the demonic ideology and then try to see what exactly are each demons trying to do. So here we see that Hiranyakashipu was yeah, I want to be the master of the universe, and then he didn't listen, and then we try to learn from him. And I like the last point where you talked about we have to pray to Nrsimha that we have Hiranyakashipu in each of us, like the good fox, bad fox in each of us, and then who do we exactly feed and make it bigger. So and then we pray to Nrsimha that please take us all this material things away from us, like materialistic tendencies away from us. So Prabhu, my question here would be, this is a point I like. My question here is, I tried to explain one of the story of Hiranyakashipu to my colleagues one time. And then I was going through from the start, the Jai Vijay pastime. And then they were in that thing, and then Lord asked them he gives them the option, you can become a devotee or or you can become this thing. But they understood the desire of the Lord that he wants to actually fight. He will not enjoy if I become a devotee. So that's the point. That's the time. So in our philosophy, we always take it as an understanding that yes, we are servant of the Lord and we are His playful things. But outside of our philosophy, it's very difficult to explain. And they think God is so cruel. He just wants to play with us and have all these killings and everything. How would you explain that to an outsider that they would able to understand and comprehend it in a way that he's taking it as form, but this is Leela, but for us it's still pastime, so it's very easy to understand. But for to an outsider it would be so difficult to comprehend that philosophy that he's so cruel and just just for his plaything he's having killed his dad and everything. So how would we
well, so this is actually where I'm going to counteract your point. Even in the outsider philosophy, especially with more so with the younger groups, violence is actually craved, and you just have to look at pretty much every video game franchise that has ever been created. They constantly improve on, all right, we have to do different mechanics, throw in different weapons, different ways to fight, different ways to kill, different adversaries, make the levels harder, make it harder, challenging. Because if you think about, let's say, if someone goes to an arcade, it's okay, that's too easy. That video game's way too easy. I'm already at the top of the scoreboard. Like, it's not fun. Or even if you think sports, let's say if I'm a team that like we're training ourselves for a state championship. You're throwing us up against like a team that's never won anything. Like, cool, we'll get like practice in, but we're not going to get a challenge. How are we going to get better? Give us a challenge. Give us a hard fight. So same way in violence, to think about like all these violent video games that come out, people crave that. People look at like, I want the graphics. I want to be able to see like intestines fly out when I shoot people. It's ironically, it's like stuff ripped out from the Bhagavatam when you read the descriptions of how the Lord kills certain demons, but people crave violence. People sometimes have what it's called that morbid fascination. But it's a challenge ultimately. And a lot of times people can understand that. A champion will always want to face another champion. A champion wants to have adversaries. Otherwise, it's like in boxing if you fix the fight. If those fights are fixed, no one's going to take that champion seriously. No one's going to question, or everyone's going to question the validity of that heavyweight champion. Are you really the heavyweight champion? Because all you're going up against is a bunch of featherweights. They're not real fighters. They're just paid to let you win. Why should I accept that title belt on you? Whereas if you're going up against actual seasoned fighters every time, it's like, okay, he's proved himself again and again and again. He's the best of the best. And of course, Krishna literally did that in the wrestling arena because Krishna loves to fight. And that's another thing too. People like sports. The Lord likes to fight. There's a lot of people who are engaged in martial arts. Why can't the Lord also like martial arts? So sometimes when you have to explain Shastra, it's difficult in ways where you can have to manifest like, yes, like the Kumaras had to explain their situation. Jai Vijay wanted to be in a position of devotional service. It may be difficult to explain that to someone who's not yet at a platform to understand the different relationships and rasas. But if you just simply explain it on a standpoint of just a person with common interests, that already does something huge for someone who's being introduced to Krishna consciousness philosophy. Because you're establishing the Lord as a person, and people have interests. So you're sharing different interests that the Lord has. That already means, oh, I understand that. He likes to fight. He likes martial arts. That already not humanizes, per se, but it builds a relationship point, which ultimately is how, don't alienate your audience so much. There's a lot more in common that we have than you realize. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. You talked about failure being the greatest teacher. So, when we fail, either materially or spiritually, generally when we fail, we become sad that we failed. Because, you might have put some effort in, then you fail. How do you not become in such a sad mood and take that and transform like you were talking about?
Yeah. So that also, it depends on what kind of failure is it. There's obviously little failures and there's big failures. So that also, time, place, and circumstance you have to take in. So let's say, we'll take an academic example. So you go, you're studying hard, you're looking through like, okay, I take my test, and then you get back, and you just see a big, fat, red letter F on your paper. Like, what this idiot, what did they even do on this paper? And you get that. It's like, okay, wallow in it. Let you feel the weight of that failure. It's okay. It's okay to feel emotion. On the contrary, if you don't feel emotion, then that doesn't make the movement attractive at all. That just makes us robots. Feel that emotion, feel the weight of it, but at the same time, just as Krishna says, just as like the self-realized soul is not like disturbed by, just like rivers entering the ocean, it remains calm. You let those emotions enter you, but then you let them settle out. Like after you've let the emotions run their course, because you have to understand that everything is temporary, even emotions. Failure, that's dreaded sadness. You can carry it, but eventually time is the greatest healer. Some people take longer than others, and you have to also understand that there's no one fixed size fits all for how to process your emotions. But after you accept the failure, you let yourself be sad. Give your time to feel that emotion. Then, for the instance of studying, it's like, okay, I'm going to take that exam. I'm going to put it down next to my textbook, problem by problem. I'm You're gonna read the details, like, okay, I see I did this number wrong, reread, re-practice, go it again, and then keep going repeating. Because remember, it's okay to fail multiple times. Failure is not a one-time thing. You can do it multiple times, but constantly build off of each one. Try it if you think of it like when you're building stacks of cards. If the whole card castle falls over, you don't try to put them all back right away and say, okay, I'm gonna start right back. You're gonna start back from the bottom. You're gonna build one piece by one piece and try to steadily and slowly improve yourself. There's that whole thing, nothing ever works cold turkey, where you try to stop everything. That usually ends in bad results. But if you take time to look at yourself and say, okay, I went this way wrong, I'm gonna understand that. And I'm gonna work on it carefully. I'm gonna restudy. I'm gonna also talk. Let's say I will talk one-on-one with my teachers, have a conversation, but also being open, like, I know I failed, help me so I can improve. Having that dialogue. And that's the other thing too, we circle back to. Conversation, listening. That was Hiranyakashipu's greatest fault. He didn't listen to Prahlad. Instead of Hiranyakashipu going, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, Prahlad? Elaborate further. So talking with those around you who are involved in the situation, who are involved with your failure. Sometimes even that means talking with someone who might be an adversary to you. That simply means also letting go of the ego, not being attached to the result, because ultimately that result doesn't belong to us in the first place. It belongs to Krishna. I hope that kind of answers it.
First question is really simple. I want to understand why Prahlad Maharaj, though he's just 5 years old, he gets that title of Maharaj. What does that mean?
He's royalty.
Royalty.
So
he's a prince, but Maharaj means king actually. But
what did he become after his father died?
oh, okay. So
So as soon, so he's also for Bhakta Prahlad. But then of course after Hiranyakashipu was killed, well, oh great. Well, we weren't actually expecting a royal succession because he was supposed to be immortal, but Prahlad Maharaj, you are his son. And then of course the Lord even said, stay, rule in your father's stead, but do so as my devotee. And of course we can see Prahlad Maharaj lived his life. And even his dynasty lived on as devotees. Because who's another famous descendant of Prahlad Maharaj who was equally a great devotee?
Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj. So first Bhakta Prahlad, then into Prahlad Maharaj. Because as soon as that first intestine comes out, or technically as soon as that pillar broke, he's Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyakashipu has already signed the transfer of power. So, and you said you had a second question.
yeah, quoting what you just said, good things come to those who wait. So Hiranyakashipu, he meditated and he asked, though he got that wisdom, maybe it's not knowledge, it's wisdom. He was asking for wisdom and he got that and he got all those superpowers. Yet he did not get that final message, the ultimate, not final, the ultimate message that Krishna is all, the power, and Krishna is ultimate, and me trying to win over him is impossible, is stupidity, sorry for the wrong word, but yeah, that did not come to him. That is so surprising that we can meditate, we can ask for superpowers, but we might not get the real wisdom, the ultimate wisdom, if we do not openly ask for, or we do not open up for that ultimate lesson, is what I understood. If you want to elaborate on that.
No, it's all about your mentality when you pray and you ask for things. Are you asking it for yourself? Or are you asking it for the betterment of your spiritual life and others? So in the Hiranyakashipu's sense, yes, he was asking for all of these different things, like, fine, give me this, give me that, I'm gonna get it, but ultimately I'm not in the right mindset. I'm not properly listening, because also at the same time, Brahmaji is looking at Hiranyakashipu and saying, he's not going to listen to me. That's the other thing too in communication. It's obviously important to listen, but it's also important to know, is my message even going to be heard by this person? So from Brahma's case, like, no, he's not. But you're going to listen to your son eventually, not the way you think. So I was like, tatastu. I'm not going to be the one that's going to deliver the message, but your son and Nrsimha is going to be the one that will give you that message. So for Hiranyakashipu, a good thing did come for him. He had to wait. He had to wait for the Lord to come out, rip him out, and show him his mortality of his body, but the immortality of his soul. So ultimately, even Hiranyakashipu, good things did come to him. It just came in a more violent way for him. And then just for time's sake, Sunil Prabhu, we got, if it's quickly, we'll take yours.
Okay. Very nice class, Prabhuji, thank you. Very small question on that spirit soul slide. I was able to relate everything. I just want to ask, what is that code represented?
Which code?
In the spirit soul slide.
Label, spirit soul.
Yeah.
Oh, the label, that one. There's a. So I've seen there's a T-shirt, so I got that. But let me go back.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a T-shirt actually you can get online. I saw. But there's a Hiranyakashipu's mustache.
Oh,
But-
that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That 420, 418, what is that? I was just trying to relate. Everything else I can relate.
That one I'm not fully sure.
Uh-huh.
I'd have to dig through a little bit more or
No worries.
look at the T-shirt, but it's a fun reminder. So that everybody has that label inside. If someone just peels back, looks at the tiny 1/10,000th of a hair, you're gonna see your soul. On your soul, you're gonna see the little sticker right here. That's the label of what it's made.
Yeah, it's unique slide. I really like it.
I guess the 108 is 108.
108, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, so we'll go ahead and get ready to see the Lord. So I'll ask if you have your mats, please take them, bring them over to this side. And thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.